locked, we're loaded, we're green, we're screened, and we're the mean fighting Green Terror Machine.
Green Terror Machine?
Wasn't that y'all's slogan, Boo? The Green Terror Machine?
Just Green Terror. The Green Terror was our, what's the word?
Mascot.
Mascot, yes.
What did he look like?
Oh, it looked like, okay. Well, he looks different now than he did when I was in college.
Interesting.
There's two different Green Terrors. There's what the Green Terror actually looks like, which is what he looked like when I was in college, and there's this like Hollywood version. Originally, he looked like if you took like an old bear, like an old teddy bear, right? You know, like a matted one that'd been loved really hard.
Like from Ted, that kind of teddy bear. You know what I'm talking about? A teddy.
Older than that, like a classical kind of looking teddy bear. You know what I mean?
I guess so. Yeah.
Like kind of skinny and like the kind where the arms sort of move like this.
I think
like
so.
a really old fashioned teddy bear.
Yeah.
He looks like that, but his skin's all matted, like you know how my stuffed dog is.
Yes.
Like that, and it's green like
a big green bear.
Like greener than this, like almost a little like a Kelly green, like a. And his eyes are like kind of green shot. Like imagine if someone had bloodshot eyes, but they were green. He's horrifying. And he's got really big, scary, like teeth.
All right, what's the name of your college so they can look it up?
McDaniel College. I'll post a picture. I will be posting. I'll put a picture in the
for this episode.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, just so everybody can get really good at it.
But now it's like they took him and they cleaned him up and gave him a makeover.
Oh, he has like a job now?
He looks like he's like the Hollywood version. They made him sexy.
Oh. Does he have a six-pack?
Kind of. I'm going to put up both pictures.
Yeah, let the people decide.
Because also the new one doesn't look scary. The old one, it's like if you told us the Green Terror was coming and you saw the original Green Terror, you'd be like, this is horrifying. This is something from a nightmare. And the new one looks like this really nice green bear thing.
I believe that. That's so fucking funny. What was my college ones? The Belhaven was... I don't remember what Belhaven or Mississippi College was. I remember my high school, but I can't remember what Belhaven or Mississippi College was. You
don't remember at all? You were actually at the games.
No,
the mascot was.
That's crazy. I gotta look up Belhaven University and Mississippi College. I gotta look up what those.
I could tell you every mascot for every school.
Mississippi College Choctaws.
Choctaws?
Like a Choctaw. Like a Native American.
Native American branch.
Like a Choctaw.
It's a specific Native American tribe.
I think so. Sam, I could just be making up words. I could be making up words right now. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Rainier.
My college's mascot was Rainier Targaryen.
My college mascot was Rainier. Yeah. Hey, how good is Game of Thrones?
I liked her better when she was young.
I like all of it. That last episode was so good.
The last episode was dope.
No. I guess the young Rhaenyra was my favorite character in the show. Mm-hmm. And it does suck that now she's just gone, and it's just like she didn't die or anything. She's just like nigga, which makes the show kind of really cool. That it's like, damn, that is how life really actually works.
Gosh, this must be how our parents feel about us. Like Samantha was my favorite child, but now she's just gone.
She's just
like
gone.
This weird adult that does comedy
and fucks her brother or uncle. That's what Rhaenyra does.
Okay, that's what Rhaenyra does. I was like, what
she literally married him.
Yeah, she did.
Spoiler alert. Go watch. Well, it's been a week. You should catch up.
It hasn't been a week, has it?
When this comes out, it'll be pretty much up. Pretty much it's been a week.
Catch up.
But yeah, the show is so fucking good. Bro, if you ain't on that new Game of Thrones, dog.
Allison is on one.
Allison's on one. Like, bro.
That bitch needs to chill the fuck out.
I thought that the characters weren't as good. And they're not, because there is still no Tyrion. It's the only thing missing from this Game of Thrones is there's no Tyrion. And I don't mean the actual actor. I mean, like, there's no that level character where it's like, damn, that's the best part of the show, and it's no question. Rhaenyra kind of was that, the young Rhaenyra, but not even still. The Tyrion, I guess it really lets you know that, like, damn, that actor, Peter Dinklage was a bad motherfucker, bro.
Yes.
Because he brought that nigga to life.
What do you think about how much of his career led up until that point? He'd been acting for over 20 years at that point.
Yeah.
It was all leading to this like perfect moment in like not cinema, but TV history.
It was leading up to that. You know what else too? We talked about this. They're also the only thing that sucks about the show, and not such just what's not, because will it be as good as the original Game of Thrones season 1? I don't think so, but I'm not saying in any way it's bad. But my point is that the original Game of Thrones it had characters like Tyrion, the midget, and who everyone loves. Just undeniable love. It's just you can't help but love him immediately, and he's your favorite character. Jon Snow had the same effect as well, but Tyrion even more so.
I feel like Neddard had that as well. And that's why they chose to go the way they did.
Oh, true. Neddard had that as well, but I think Tyrion was was everyone's favorite.
Well, obviously, and also over the course of the whole thing, he's the one that
stays your favorite.
He's there the whole time.
He also there the whole time.
Arya has that too. People love Arya immediately.
People love Arya immediately. The Starks, I mean, but Tyrion is just different. He was different.
No, he was different. He was all spectrums of a man. He's you see his bad part, his flaws, but also you see how his flaws accent his positive parts, and that's why he's a true human. You see all aspects. Smart, and he had also, I mean, and to be fair, because just writing wise, right, he got most of the best lines. Oh, he gets the greatest lines.
He got the best. Like if you were an actor reading the whole script, right, you would be like, well, whoever this Tyrion dude is has a lot of the coolest lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My point being, you had all that right on the early show, and which they don't have on this new one. And they also, on the early show, which they don't have on this new one, is they don't have a Joffrey. They don't have a Littlefinger. People that you hate.
They have a Littlefinger.
Who?
That creepy guy that's killing people for Alicent. He's the closest thing we have.
Who was that?
The guy with the cane, the son of who killed his.
He's the closest, but he ain't as good as Littlefinger.
But he's close. He's that realm of people.
Yeah, there's no Joffrey. I'll give you that.
No
there's no. I'm talking where the character showed up on screen. You're like, I hate this person, and then they make you hate them more. There has been none of that. Everyone's been, which I'm not mad at, because everyone's been way more mysterious.
Yeah, because this guy with the cane is more of a Littlefinger Viserys like mixture.
Yeah. He's just not as good an actor as those two.
No, he's not.
He's just not as good. He's not
very compelling.
Yeah.
I don't believe him.
He's just not.
He's probably the worst actor on the show.
Littlefinger, bro. You do hate Littlefinger immediately, but you like him in this weird way too. It's weird.
But then again, he is like a legendary actor.
He came into it a legendary actor. And then Viserys, you like him. I like him like how I like Littlefinger.
Oh yeah, I like.
You like Viserys. Yeah. You do like. I like.
You also don't know how to feel about him. Like, is he good or is he bad? The entirety of.
But I still like him though.
Yeah, but that's why he's great.
Yeah, and then the only character who I think is the best character in this show, is the King. The King in this show is bro, from when the beginning to now that he's old, he's still like, bro. Every scene he's in, he eats that shit up, bro.
He is the most talented of all the actors they have right now.
Yeah.
For sure, easily.
And then Damon's amazing too.
Damon's amazing,
but the King is the best.
Very one-sided. The King.
The little Rhaenyra was great too. Little Rhaenyra.
Young Rhaenyra.
She could act as far as acting skills.
Even young Alicent was good.
Oh, I like them both. Yeah.
I don't think
old Alicent's good. Old
Alicent is good.
Old Alicent's good.
I don't think I like either of the older versions of the girls as much as I like the younger versions.
Yeah, and then I like Kristen Cole as well.
He's great. Honestly, he's like super handsome.
He's super handsome, and his character's in a tricky spot. His character's in an interesting spot.
Yeah.
And so it makes him. It gives him. He has depth.
Yeah.
I like that they gave his character like a lot of depth.
I like to imagine that if I was a man, I would look like him.
Sam, you are Kristen Cole.
I know.
You're Kristen Cole and you're J. Cole. Give me some.
Thanks, baby.
Fucking cold world over here, dog.
Cold world.
Guys, hashtag Samantha is cold world. Bean Mafia, welcome back.
It's a Lopez world.
We were paid to do that by Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we were. Crazy, right?
They paid us to do that. So if you're wondering why
things are looking up.
Because if you're like, I don't even watch Game of Thrones. I haven't seen the first one. I don't even know what they're talking about. And they're not even like explaining anything. They're just saying characters and that they like. Well, guess what? That's what you get on Spoiled Beans.
You want to do this with Marvel as well? We don't even have to tell a movie.
Don't get us started. Don't get us started. I'm gonna say that right now. Bean Mafia, don't get us started. Samantha, very glad to have you back. You're looking perfect as always.
Thank you.
Looking perfect, and you're being perfect, and you are perfect.
That's what happens when I wake up next to you.
That's very true. So don't you ever not wake up next to me. But that's not what today's episode is about.
Okay.
It's not about Sam's perfection, sadly. It's about another person's perfection. And that is a top Bean Mafia member, Mr. Cristofor Castro.
Because
Sam, the great Chris Castro, this is a paid for.
Oh, from Chris?
This is a paid for from Chrissy Boo.
I know Chris Castro.
You know his family owns Castro Oil. Castro Oil.
Is that real?
Yes.
I've never heard of Castro Oil.
Is it Castro? Isn't it like a oil?
You're thinking of castor oil, which is some old-fashioned thing that I don't really know.
No, but isn't there a brand called Castro?
I don't know.
Guys, Chris Castro, the owner of the Castro Corporation, He paid for today's episode.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Does he diddle little kids? I don't think so, and I hope not. Now, which is not saying that he does. I've never met Chris, so I don't know what he does. I'm just saying, I hope not, right?
We hope not.
We hope not, and that's all we can hope with every person who pays for an episode. But I like to bring that up, that he doesn't diddle kids. At least I hope not. I've never met him. Again, Cristofor Castro, guys, he paid for today's episode, and he's a fucking top Bean Mafia member. And I'm so excited to do this for you today, buddy. I appreciate you listening and supporting and showing love. And we're going to knock out a bunch of paid fors. And we have only I think 10 left, 12 left, 10 to 12 left. So we're going to knock them right out. But Chris, yours is the day, brother. And let me say something to you, Chris. Let me say something to you. This movie is kind of awesome. Like, it's insane, because I've never heard of it. And then I watched it yesterday, and I was like, oh, my God. This is kind of all. Because I hate these movies, but I don't hate this.
Wait.
I don't hate this.
You hate these movies?
Sam, are you ready?
Wait, how do you know I haven't seen this movie?
Oh, I know you haven't seen this.
You sure? Because there's a certain group of movies I know you hate that I've seen a lot of.
Sam, you haven't seen this. Are you ready?
Okay.
Let me tell you something. You've never even heard of this.
Okay.
But since you've never heard of it, and I know that, and I'm about to tell it all to you right now, before we do that, can you do me a favor?
I'd love to. What is it?
Tell me what you think happens in Evil Dead 2. Not 1 and not 3.
There's 3?
There's too many, but I want what happens in 2.
Evil Dead 2.
The second one.
Okay. In the second one.
Not the third one or the first.
All right. The movie opens.
Or 2.5.
In Evil Dead 2, the movie opens with a kind of storybook recap of the first movie. You know how
Fucking
sometimes
amazing.
movies open and it's looks like a book that they're flipping through and it tells
Like a Knight's Tale type shit.
Yeah, they do that with Robin Hood, the animated one.
All those,
you know
yeah.
what I'm talking about?
Any kind of Knight's medieval movie, that's what they, yeah.
So it opens like that with a book, and you see the story of Evil Dead 2, which is the story of how they kill all the evil.
And Evil Dead 1.
And the Evil Dead 1. So in the original story, which we find out in the beginning, they're flipping. We see that evil is overcome by good, and it is dead. Hence, Evil Dead.
Okay.
And it is left to rot in the ground.
How did we get to Evil Dead 2? What happens in Evil Dead 2?
But then in Evil Dead 2, an alien from a distant planet
Holy shit.
comes and lands in Wyoming.
Oh my God, Jackson Hole. That's where shit goes down. That's where Kanye is a lot of times.
He knew Kanye was. He was guided by the music.
Oh my God, that's even scarier.
And he puts his hands on the ground, and this alien is from another world where evil has not been committed to the ground, has not been killed. And this alien is actually also evil. And so he resurrects all the evil dead. So not only is it evil that's coming back up, but it's dead evil. So it's like zombies, but evil.
Oh my God. It's basically they're Evil Dead again. Almost
Evil Dead again.
Some
might call it, Evil Dead 2.
Some might even say Evil Dead 2.
And this alien leading all these dead evil things comes and it takes over Westeros and it gets a dragon.
Oh, Lord.
And
we've seen this movie.
Makes the dragon into an ice dragon. And the whole time, it was actually Bran. That's how I wanted it to end.
Bran should be, and then they had to kill Bran. That's what they should have had to realize.
And then they had to kill Bran. But, yeah.
And Jon Snow has to kill Bran.
And then Jon Snow comes back.
Arya has to kill Bran.
With Arya, and they kill all the evil dead, and then the dead go back into the ground. But that doesn't mean they're dead forever, because there's an Evil Dead 3 coming out. Was that close?
That was, Sam, you were so close that you got all of it wrong.
Wow. I didn't know I could be that close.
That's how close you were. But you had moments where you were kind of right. Are you ready?
Yes.
You ready for some Evil Dead 2? Stop looking at the screen. Stop cheating.
Damn, that's my favorite thing to do.
Stop
is look at
looking at the screen.
It's like reading. No, it's like reading the subtitles when you're watching a movie.
Stop it. You don't get the subtitles. This is like you're supposed to be watching the movie like you're watching it in the theater, boo.
But what if I can't understand what you're saying? What if I miss something and I need to read it?
God damn. This woman, guys. You ready?
What's that first word saying?
Don't worry about it. Stop looking. God, she's a cheater. This is how she behaved in school.
That's why I got such good grades.
I know. And now I'm realizing why you're retarded.
Or the smartest person
that I've ever met. Well, that beautiful face would say so. Guys, Sam, are you ready? Yes?
Yes.
Well, we can't start the movie until I say that you have to come see me, everyone, in the Austin, Texas area, October 8th, at the Vulcan Gas Company for solid comedy.
Solid comedy.
Me, Ahmad, and special guests.
Oh boy, they're special too.
We've actually, this one,
time they're really
this one
special.
they're really crazy. The last previous,
They were pretty special last time.
I mean, yeah, previous people on the show have been Brian Simpson, Craig Conant, Jason Chinney, John Rudnitsky from SNL, Alana Mitra, Genevieve. I mean, it's been Sam, Andrew Tarr. It's been literally amazing, the shows. This is the third one, and I want to say the names of the special guests we have, but
we're
like
dying to
Jesus
say the
Christ,
names.
because it's really awesome. But come on out if you're in the Austin, Texas area, in the Round Rock, Pflugerville, any of these areas, and you listen to the Beans and you're catching this episode, October 8th, you come and you support solid comedy show. See me and Ehsan and Sam and special guests. And October 14th, if you're in the Dallas, Addison, or mainly Fort Worth area, Fort Worth, Texas, I will be at the Fort Worth Hyenas, October 14th, 7:30 p.m. Get tickets now before they sell out, because that show might sell out. We're doing the smaller room. It's the Red Room. October 14th, Sam will be hosting, Ahmad will be featuring, and your boy will be headlining.
It's going to be a crazy show. You should be there.
It's going to be legitimately a crazy show. I'm excited. So if you're in that area, Fort Worth, Texas, come on out. October 14th, 7:30 p.m. That's a Friday in the Red Room at Hyenas Comedy Club. Now, Samantha, you ready for this movie? Brought to you by Cristofor Castro through the voice of Deric Poston.
Yes.
That is Evil Dead 2.
I would love to hear it.
Movie starts. Legend has it, it was written by the Dark Ones.
Oh my gosh, this is pretty much how I started mine.
Pretty much. Necromanicon Immortis, roughly translated, the Book of the Dead. We see an evil black book come biting at the screen like.
Is this supposed to be a funny movie?
It's a book. Sam, I don't know what this is supposed to be, but I get why they made 3 of them. Okay.
Okay.
It's just awesome.
Have you seen the first one?
I've never even heard of these.
I've heard of this before. You've never heard it? Isn't this a game? Isn't this like a game on like on Xbox or something?
You're thinking of the movie with the girl in it.
What's that?
The movie with the ex.
The Underworld.
No, that's a different movie. No,
the
you're
one
thinking
where
of.
she like fights. No, that's
Yes.
not what I'm thinking of. I don't even know what this is about, but I've heard of this before. Evil Dead. Is it British?
No. That's why I'm like, what do you think? What do you think? Hey, whatever you think this is, because this is, I don't know how, this clearly is not. If this was a game, how the fuck was it a game? It was made in 1987.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yo, this is not. I have no clue.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, babe, I don't know what you acting like you know what you're talking. And it's like, dog, I've never knew this existed, and I don't know who did, other than the people who went and seen it and made sure that there was 3 of them or 4 of them, or I don't know how many got made.
It sounds like a video game.
I know it does, but it came out in 1987.
They had video games in 1987.
About whatever I'm about to tell you about? No, they fucking
They
did
had
not.
Pong.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't have this fucking thing. All right, so this black book's biting at the screen. The book served as a passageway to the evil worlds beyond. We see evil skeleton images, right? It was written long ago, the seas ran red with blood, and the blood inked the book. And we see the blood, like, writing images on the book, right? In 1300 AD, the book disappeared. Evil Dead 2. Now, Sam, did that let you know about anything that happened in Evil Dead 1?
Yeah, was the book available in the first movie?
I don't know, Sam. That's my whole point. Is that let you know nothing?
That let you know nothing. Mine was better. Mine explained what happened in the first movie.
My favorite thing about this movie, and I think why Cristofor chose this movie, Sam, whatever happens in Evil Dead 1, it doesn't. This is like
it's its own thing.
I don't think anything that happens in Evil Dead 1 has anything to do with Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Not a single thing, because there's no callbacks. There's no like, oh, they're saying something that maybe happened that I don't know. None of that. I know everything that's happened in the whole movie.
Interesting.
There's no characters they bring up that aren't none of that shit, Sam. So I'm like, bro, I have to watch Evil Dead 1 now after watching this. All right, you ready? Evil Dead 2. Credits roll. We see our lead, Bruce Campbell. You know who Bruce Campbell is? This guy. Don't worry, I got him loaded up.
You said it like I should know who Bruce.
Because right when you say, because you know it's funny, he's one of those names that people don't know, but when you see his face, you're gonna be like, oh, him.
Oh, the actor's name is Bruce Campbell. Oh, that guy.
Yeah. He's in all the Spider-Mans.
He is. Who was he when he was younger? That looks like a... What's
See?
that movie? The Guardian. Okay.
But that's what he looks like in this era of us watching him, though. But
That's
this
what
is
he
this is what he looks
movie?
like now. You know, he was in Doctor Strange. Remember, he's the guy who beats himself up at the end of the new Doctor Strange movie.
I guess.
No, I'm saying, you remember at the end of the new Doctor Strange movie, they tell a guy to beat himself up, and he's beating himself up the whole movie. And at the end of the last post credit, it's him beating himself up again. In the Spider-Man movie, he's the ticket bouncer who won't let Tobey Maguire in. Remember, Tobey's trying to see her play.
Oh.
And the guy's like, oh, shoes untied. And he ties the shoe and he's like, oh, and you want to fix this? And Tobey fixes his button. And then he tries to walk by him. He goes, oh, we're not letting people in. And Tobey's like, what? But I have a ticket, yada, yada. He goes, we don't let people in once the door. It's like one of them kind of plays. You don't know what I'm talking about in Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
But he's been in a lot of stuff.
Wait, she was acting in Spider-Man 2. I thought that was Spider-Man 3 that her whole acting career.
Fails. So in Spider-Man 1, they're in high school, yes?
Yes.
Spider-Man 2, they're out of high school.
And she's already acting.
She's acting.
And she's having a successful act. She's not waiting tables anymore.
She waits tables and then she's waiting tables and then she gets that role. Remember? She's waiting tables. She gets that huge lead role. She wants Peter to come to the show, but Peter's too busy being Spider-Man.
And what's his face comes instead?
Huh? What's his face comes?
Cutie.
James Franco.
Yeah, bad guy.
But he ain't bad yet in this one.
No.
That's the third movie. In this movie, he's dealing with Doc Ock.
He's just being.
Remember, Doc Ock's telling him like, read her poetry.
Read
Remember, Doc's giving her advice on how to because he's like, oh, Mary Jane, my girl, yada yada, and he's like, well, just read her poetry. And then he tries to read her poetry, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's a very good movie.
Why don't you ever read me poetry?
Who, you?
Yeah, you.
I'm literally reading you poetry. This is all poetry.
This is Evil Dead 2 is poetry.
Yo, this is actually poetry.
Okay.
We see our lead, our boy Bruce. They're driving in a car, and he's with this beautiful blonde girl. And she's like, what's this place that we're going to like? And he's like, oh, honey, it's way up in the mountains. And she smiles. Cut to, they're in the cabin in the woods, right? And he's playing piano really beautifully. And she's dancing behind him, twirling like really sexy. And he grabs her and he holds her. And they look at each other and like the moon's behind them. And they kiss. And she has this necklace, right? And it has like a ring on it. And she's looking at it. She's like, loves it. And he's like, what do you think, kid? And she's like, oh, I love it, Ash. Stop looking at the screen, Sam. And then she goes, oh, Ash, I think we're gonna get in trouble. What if these people come back? What if the people who actually own this place come back? They're breaking into a place, clearly, right? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. They won't. And if they do, we'll just tell them our car broke down and we were scared and we didn't know what to do. Which isn't a bad lie.
No, that's all right. But then they'd be like, well, let's help you with your car.
Yeah, and then they realize your car's not broken down.
Huh.
That's the whole thing. He goes, but forget all that. Let's have some champagne. He goes, last I checked, I'm a man. You're a woman. And then he starts like singing to her, right? And she's like, oh, she's like annoyed with, they clearly in love.
Yeah.
Okay. He walks in a room looking for champagne, and he's like, hey, there's a tape recorder in here. She's like, what's on it, honey? He's like, oh, let's see. Why are you making a face here?
Who just sees a tape recorder and is like, I got to see what's on it?
That's crazy, right?
It's crazy. I would just not think about it at all.
I would never think about it until if I was there like 2 days, I'd probably, on day 2 or 3 though, I'd look at it and be like, then I'd probably hit play. No bullshit. Sam, after you looked at it for like 3 days, you'd be like, what's on this tape recorder?
Oh, yeah.
Would you not?
Like,
not immediately.
I walk into a room and I see a tape recorder.
Sam, also, you're looking for champagne.
I'm looking for champagne.
That tape recorder, I'm noticing it. I'm like, as I'm looking for the champagne, I guarantee I'm like, oh, there's a tape recorder right there. And then I'm walking around, and then as the night goes on, and then maybe the next morning, I might wake up and be like, what's on this fucking tape recorder? Well, you might, because it would be, it is a tape recorder that in a place you're not there, it's like, oh, I wonder what's on here.
Of course, but the fact that you walk into a room and you spot a tape recorder and you have to listen to it, it's just like, well, something interesting is going to be on that tape recorder. Because it's important to the story. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been noticed.
He hits play. This is Professor Raymond Noby, Department of Ancient History, Log 2. I made a find in Kantar, journeying with my wife, Hernadette, and my daughter, Annie. In the chamber of the castle, we stumbled on something remarkable. The Book of the Dead.
Dun, dun, dun.
My wife and I brought the book to the cabin so I could study. Here, I began the translations. The book speaks of a presence of evil roaming the forest and that will devour our domain. In these passages, the dark spirits can possess the living. Here is how you say the passages. We see our boy looking at the book, because the book's right there next to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The tape recorder. So he's looking at the book. He opens it as the dude's reading it, right? And the dude's like, Hashukami, Halukana. And like he's reading the passages. Sam, outside the house, you see an evil spirit. Like you don't see it, but like it's basically the camera just rushing towards the house. But you can tell, like, oh, this is the evil spirit,
yeah.
you know? And it's rushing towards the house, and it busts through the window, and you hear his girl Linda scream, ah! And he runs out, and he's like, what the fuck? And his window's busted, and he looks around, and he's like, Linda! Linda! And he looks outside, and she's gone. And he keeps looking around the house. And then she pops up on him, and she's a zombie. She's like,
already?
She's already a zombie.
She's already a zombie.
Full zombie.
How long has this movie been going at this point?
Just so you know, this movie is an hour and 20 minutes.
And we're about like 3 minutes into it.
Probably like 5 minutes into it.
And immediately a zombie.
Oh, dude, they don't waste. You know what I like about this movie, Sam?
We get right to the point.
Oh, there's no Sam. Do you want to fuck around and figure out if they're zombies, or do you want to know if they're zombies immediately?
I want to know. Also, I called zombies.
You did call zombies.
You said 100% incorrect.
You were 99.9.
I called book. I called zombies.
You did call those things. You were 99.8. She's laughing like crazy, and she's walking toward him with the zombie walk. He grabs a shovel on the ground, and he swings, and he cuts her head off. And her head goes flying.
That was quick.
Yep. And then he takes the shovel, and he buries her body, and he grabs the ring, the gift, the ring necklace, and he holds it, and he's like, Linda. And he takes a cross, right, and he puts it in the ground, and the shot is like, but the shots are so funny. The shot is like up, so he's like, it's like, bro, who directed this? And then you want to know who directed this?
Who?
Sam Raimi.
Wait, I know that name. He does Marvel stuff, right? No.
He did all the Spider-Mans. And he did the newest Doctor Strange.
Whoa.
Hence our boy, Bruce Campbell, why he's in all these movies.
Oh, that makes sense.
Bruh. Hey, that's why you never know who your friends are going to be, dog. You work with people because you just never know. Linda.
Wait, so why did he mark her grave? He just killed her.
Yeah, he just killed her.
That's probably not going to work well if people look for her body.
He's not worried about that. He loves this woman.
Yeah.
So he looks outside. We see the evil spirit roaming. Now we see the evil spirit roaming through the forest, right? And it busts through the doors of the cabin and then right onto our boy. And it grabs him, and you see this evil spirit dragging him through the forest, and it smashes him into a tree, and he falls super hard, face first into the water. And then he raises up, and he's a zombie too.
Whoa.
Already. And he's like, ah, and he's yelling. Then Sam, the sun comes up, and the zombie's like, and the evil spirits, you see the evil spirits all leaving the forest. And Sam, the evil spirits are just smoke.
Uh-huh.
And the smoke coming in is clearly a smoke machine blowing it in, right?
Yeah.
And when the evil spirits leave the forest, it's clearly those shots in Rewind.
I love it. Love it.
Like, it's just that shot with the smoke going back where it came.
This is a great movie.
Oh, it's fire, dude.
Yeah.
And he passes out, and the smoke leaves the forest, and his eyes open all dramatic. He wakes up, and he's back to his normal self.
Uh-huh.
He's not a zombie anymore. And he looks around super slow, and the camera spins around so slow, and this takes way too long, and the shot is way too long, and it keeps spinning around. And then finally he's like, it's gone. The sun has driven it away.
But he's not a zombie.
No, he's not a zombie. He's regular himself again.
So he killed his girl for no reason.
Well, yeah, he didn't know that the sun would drive it away.
Yeah.
And then he looks at the camera, and he goes, for now. Gotta blow out of here. So we see the evil...
he didn't mourn her at all.
No, he doesn't have time.
Okay.
Sam, he's dealing with an evil dead spirit.
Okay, he's dealing with an evil
So
dead
if
spirit.
I die like that, would you have time to warn me?
I wouldn't. It would take me a lot to comprehend what was going on. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't immediately go, oh, that was an evil spirit that made me into a zombie, and now
The
the
sun
sun
drives
drove
it
it
away.
away. And I'm not like that great of a scientist. I would be like, maybe there's some other explanations here.
That's fair. So he hops back in his car and he takes off, and he goes to drive out of here, right? Like, I got to get out of here. And we see it, the angle's on him, and then he slows down and he's like, no. Oh, God, no. 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 and the camera angle turns, and the bridge that they got here on has been destroyed. So now he's like stuck on this cliff. Like there's no way off it.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, get a grip of yourself. And he looks up and the sun goes down, right? And the sun going down is clearly like green screen. It's just sun to night. And he gets nervous and he sees the spirits coming towards the car, the smoke. And he's like, no. And he starts driving backwards and he's outrunning it, like barely outrunning it, right? And then he spins the car around, he's driving. And then he hits a tree stump, Sam, and he goes flying through the front windshield. And then the spirits are coming after him and he gets up and he runs into the cabin and he makes it in and he closes the door and it busts through the door and he bends, like, Sam, he's just somehow outrunning these spirits, right? And he's running and it's this super elaborate run. And then finally he bends a corner and the spirit comes around and the spirit like looks like you can tell the camera's like looking around and it loses him. And then the spirit goes outside looking for him. And then he's like under the floorboards. You see him like lift up like. But it's crazy to me that the spirit lost track of this nigga.
Yeah, like it only has eyesight. Like that's its sensory system.
Yeah.
It's a spirit.
Bro, you would think.
You would think it would sense your fucking aura.
You would think. You would fucking think, dog. So cut to, we're now, Sam, on a plane runway. Like we're landing.
Okay.
Like at an airport. And we see this beautiful woman and a guy come up and he's like, Annie, and he kisses her. And he's like, how did it go? She's like, I did it. I found the other pages of the Book of the Dead. He's like, when do we begin translations? And she's like, tonight. I've already set it up with my father. And she goes, well, it should be set up. We haven't really spoken in a week. Remember the guy said he found with his daughter? And then he goes, what has your father found in the Book of the Dead, you think? The other guy says that to Annie. And she goes, possibly the doorway to another world. We see our boy Ash. He's all cut up and bloody. And he's sitting in the house all nervous. And he goes up to the door and he opens it slow. And he sees the like into a room and a piano is playing itself. And he looks, he's like, shit. And he grabs his girl's necklace and he looks at it and he starts crying. And then he hears something outside. And he looks outside the window and it's a headless Annie, you know where he buried her body?
Yeah.
Raising out the ground and dancing like she did in the beginning of the movie. But now her body's all decomposed and she's headless. And she's dancing and you see her fly off. And then she shows back up and like you see her fly off and then she shows him right in his face. She's like, dance with me, dance with me. And he slams her head against the window and her head falls off and like his head falls off. And he wakes up and he was just dreaming.
Oh, okay.
And he screams and he freaks out and then he looks down and that head, the Annie head, her head, remember because he cut her head off.
Yeah.
It rolls right in front of him and it's still a zombie and it's like, hello, lover. And it starts biting him like on the hand. And Sam, this scene is so crazy. He there's a head on his hand.
Yeah. Like
clearly like just a prop head. And the camera angle is like a wide shot and it's just him running around the house like slamming his head against everything.
They must have had so much fun filming
Bro,
this.
bro, it looked like the most fun ever. And you see him like run outside and he's running outside like with it. Like the shots are crazy. And he runs to his workshop. There's a workshop, like a work shed outside. And he sees a vice grip and he puts her head in the vice grip. And the head goes, even now we have Linda's soul. She suffers even now. And he looks for a chainsaw and his chainsaw is missing. Right? And then right then, her body, because it was just her head.
Yeah.
Her headless body runs in and has the chainsaw. And he's trying to attack him, and then he hits it, and the chainsaw goes backward, and it cuts into her body, right? And he takes the chainsaw back from her, and the head is now regular Linda head, like her regular beautiful face. And it's like, please, Ash, don't hurt me. You swore we'd be together. And he's like, no! And then it's evil Linda again. It's like, and he takes the chainsaw and starts slicing through the head, and blood squirts all over the room.
Dope.
So he comes out, and he's holding the chainsaw. There's blood all over him, and he goes back in the house, and he sees a gun on the wall, and he grabs the gun, and he loads it. It's a shotgun. He cocks it, and he looks forward, and the chair that's in front of him swivels on its own, and it starts rocking like someone's in it. And then he reaches in to grab it, like to see what's there, and nothing's there. And then he looks in the mirror, and he goes, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. And then the other side of the mirror goes, I don't think you're fine. We just cut our girlfriend's fucking head with a chainsaw. And he grabs him. He's like, that sound fine to you? And he starts to choke himself. And then he realizes he's just choking himself like this. And then he looks back at the mirror and he's like, oh my God. He doesn't know what's reality or what's anything anymore.
Yeah.
Which would be actually very scary. Because then you'd be like, oh my God, did I just kill my girlfriend?
That's true. I mean, you did.
But did I just like kill her for no reason?
Seems that way.
So he looks down, and his hand is now shriveled up to a zombie hand.
Ooh.
And it starts doing these weird motions, and it grabs his face, and he's like, "You dirty bastards, give me back my hand!" And he screams, right? And cut to, remember the Annie girl with the guy? They're out in the woods, and they're driving up. You see them driving up to the bridge, and there's like a mechanic guy there.
Uh-huh.
And they get out, and they go, "Excuse me, sir, is this the road to Nobi Cabin?" And he's like, "Well, that's right, but you ain't going." And they're like, "Well, why not?" And he cuts his headlights on. And you can see that the bridge is fucked up. And they're like, "Well, it must be another way around or something." And you see the mechanic guy, he has a girlfriend, and she's like, "Ain't no way around. Ain't no other way around. Besides, what y'all going up there for anyway?" And then Annie's like, "Well, none of your business." And then the mechanic guy goes, "Well, there is a trail, and you can follow me and my girl. We'll take you up, but it's gonna cost you $100. And she goes, "Well, I'll tell you what." And he's like, "You take my bags, you carry them, you got a deal." And the guy is like, "Done," right? Like thinking he just schemed her out of $100. And then he realizes she has like a fuck ton of bags.
Yeah.
Right? So we see our boy Ash cut to it. He's dealing with his hand. It keeps doing it, like it's bashing plates on his head, and it's knocking him out, and it's like slamming his head against the wall. And then it finally knocks him unconscious, and then the hand like sees a knife, and then it starts dragging his body towards it. And right when it's about to grab the knife, he wakes up and he stabs his own hand with another knife. And he goes, "That's right. Who's laughing now?" And he grabs the chainsaw and he cuts his own hand off. Ooh. And he's like, "Who's laughing now?" And the blood's going everywhere over his face.
Love it.
So the hand starts wiggling everywhere. He puts like a lid over the hand. And he goes, "This is your new home." And he literally cut his hand off, and all he does is wrap a towel around it. Just a towel. And he turns back around, and the hand is gone. It got itself free. And he looks down super nervous, and he grabs the shotgun, and he sees the hand scurrying on the floor, and he tries to shoot it, and he misses, and and it goes up the wall, and he tries to shoot it, and it misses, and you see blood start seeping out the wall a little bit, and he comes up, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then more blood, and then insane amounts of blood. Like and he's like drowning in blood. It's all coming into the room, and then it all sucks back into the wall. Just a good rewind shot. Again, I love that he used that twice. Yeah. They just rewind it, and he's sitting back in the room again. And he's like, "What the fuck?" And he looks over, and there's like a deer head hanging on the wall, like one of the deer heads. And it looks at him, the deer head, and it starts laughing. And then he looks over at a lamp, like this lamp right here, and the lamp laughs. And then the bookshelf is laughing. And the dishes are all laughing. And then all the furniture's laughing. And then he starts laughing crazy too. Okay. And he's just losing his mind, right? And then he hears something outside, and he points his shotgun outside, and he shoots, and no one's there. And then he waits for a second. He's like, "What the fuck?" And then right then, the white guy from the bridge and Annie's boyfriend jump in, and they jump him. They tackle him, right? Yeah. And they start beating him up, and they knock our boy Ash out. Yeah. And they kick his face, and they're like, "You know this son of a bitch?" And the boyfriend guy's like, "No, we thought our father was going to be here." And she runs in, and she's like, "Where are my parents?" And she sees all the blood on the wall, and she sees the chainsaw, and she grabs Ash. She's like, "What the hell did you do with my parents? What did you do to them, you son of a bitch?" And they see a trap door on the floor, and they open him up, and they like put him in there, lock him in. And then Ash comes to, and he's like, "You made a mistake. It's a mistake. It's a mistake." And they throw his body in the basement. And they're like, "We hope you rot down there." And they slam it shut. All right? Upstairs, the mechanic guy's like, "I think I got to call the sheriff." And, I got to go call the sheriff. And his girl's like, "Yeah, you do." And then Annie's like, "I don't understand where my parents are. Their bodies aren't here, but all their things are here." And then she notices the tape recorder.
Yeah.
So she hits play. And she's like, "That's my father's voice." And you hear, "My wife is now host to a demon. Last night, Henrietta tried to kill me. It's now October 1st. Henrietta is dead. I could not bring myself to dismember her corpse. So I dragged her down the stairs into the cellar. God help me, I buried my wife in the floors of the cellar." And then in the floors of the cellar, you see, but our boy Ash is down there. Yeah. And the mom busts out the ground, and she's like, "Yeah!" And she's screaming. And he's like, "Oh, shit, someone's in the cellar with me." And then she goes, "Someone's in my cellar." And she's like a witch. And he runs back up, and he's like, "Let me out. What? Someone's down here." And then they're like, "What do we do? What do we do?" And they decide to let him up. And she's like, I'll swallow your souls. And then they save him last minute. All right? So you see now the evil spirits roaming outside the house, just the camera going outside the house.
Uh-huh.
Ash looks at the group and he's like, something's out there. The witch is in the cellar. The witch in the cellar is just a part of this. It lives in those woods in the dark. And that something's coming back for all of us from the dead. And then the girl screams, let's just get out of here. And he's like, no, not till daylight. And then from downstairs, they hear the mom singing a nursery rhyme from the cellar. And Annie's like, that's my mom used to sing that to me. And you hear, remember when I sing that song to you, Annie? I used to sing it to you when you were a baby. Unlock these chains. And then she's about to go do it, and then Ash shakes his head, no. And then she stops, and she's like, no, that thing in the cellar isn't my mother. And then right then her dad, who's dead, busts out the floorboards. And he's like a zombie, right? And he's like, you'll all be dead by dawn. By dawn. And then Ash runs off, and she's like, and he's like, help us, you coward. And he comes back with the hatchet, and he slices the zombie up, right? And a green slime goes everywhere, and he kills all the monsters. But as the monsters die, they go, we still live.
Ha!
Bro, this movie was crazy.
We still live.
The mechanic dude he looks outside, and he notices the trail they got there on ain't there no more.
What do you mean?
Like it's
the
gone.
trees?
Like the evil trees, yeah, like.
Whoa.
So you see all these evil sounds surrounding the house. It's having different cuts of just all these different sounds. It's like a remember that game that they gave the kids, like the cow goes. It's like all those sounds, but just played over and over again on a loop for way too long. This movie could have been in like 50 minutes if some of these scenes weren't just too long.
Yeah.
So they go, what was that? And they're like, Annie's like, I think it was something trying to enter this world. So Ash, he goes to check a noise in the room, and you see the evil spirits coming from beyond, right? And they're looking around this room, and then right then the ghost of Annie's father comes out, and he goes, Annie, there's a dark spirit here. It wants to destroy you. Your salvation lies there. And he points, and it's the book. He goes, recite the pages in the book. The passages dispel the evil. Save my soul and your own lives. And he floats away, right? Mm-hmm. So the mechanic girl, she goes, babe, to the mechanic girlfriend looks at her guy and goes, babe, you're holding my hand too tight. He goes, babe, I ain't holding your hand. And she looks down, and it's the dead hand from earlier.
Oh my gosh.
And the lights cut out, right? And then we see that girl now running through the woods, like, screaming with the hand, like she throws the hand away, and she's now running. And then right then an evil tree grabs her. And you see all these vines grab her, and they all wrap her up, and they wrap around her body, and they like go through her skin.
Whoa.
And then they drag her through the forest until like all the way through to this evil tree that eats her. Whoa. Back at the house, Ash and Annie are looking at the pages of the book. And the mechanic dude's crying. He's like, where the hell's my girl? Where is she? We got to go out there and find her. And Ash is like, if she went out there, you got to forget about her. She's already dead. And they're looking at these images of the book, right? And they go, what's that? And they go, and he goes, it says it's from 1300 AD. Apparently that's the man they call the hero from the sky. And you see these images of the book of this man falling from the sky and like saving all these people, right? Uh-huh. And he's the prophecy that this man will come and destroy all evil. And then Ash is looking at the prophecy in the book, and he's like, well, he didn't do a good damn job, did he?
Yeah.
So they find the passages they're looking for, and she goes, okay, apparently if I read the first passage, it brings the evil to flesh, and the second passage opens a rift through the space and forces the evil back in the rift. Okay, I just got to read both. And then right then they hear the shotgun, and they turn around, and it's the fucking mechanic dude. And he's like, I'm running this show now. We're going to go out there, and we're going to find my girl. And he's like, no, you idiot. She's dead by now. And he goes, with these pages, at least we have a chance. And he grabs the pages from him, right? He goes, this mumbo-jumbo bullshit don't mean squat. And he throws the pages down in the cellar where the evil witch is.
Nice move.
And he goes, now move. So they walk outside, and you see the trees moving around all evil, like they're moving. And Ash says, all right. There's no trail here anymore, man. What do we even do? And the guy's like, I don't know. Bobby Joe! Bobby Joe!
It's Bobby Joe.
Bobby Joe, where are you? And you see the evil spirit come up fast, And he keeps screaming, Bobby Joe. And he's like, shut up. You're going to get us all killed. And then you see the guy hit Ash with a gun, and Ash falls down. And the evil spirit comes all the way up. And the guy's like, Bobby Joe, where are you, girl? And then right then Ash stands up, and he's a zombie. And he's like, ah. And he grabs the guy, and he smashes him against a tree. And then he screams, and she runs away. And I swear to God, bro, as she runs away from him, he comes after her, and I shit you not, it's just Thriller.
The song?
You remember in Thriller when Michael Jackson's a zombie and he's trying to chase the girl, and he's like, so this guy's not dancing, but it's the exact shots of like him coming after her. But like, remember when he's coming after her through the house? Mm-hmm. Exactly the same. Like you're watching it and you're like, oh, this is Thriller. That's the only thing it's missing.
Big clap over
So
we should have just done the Thriller dance for this whole episode.
We should have. That'd have been fucking pretty fire, actually. So they're like, he comes after her and he's like, join us, Annie. Join us. Annie grabs this weird spear-looking thing from her dad's office. And she starts looking through the house slowly. And then she sees something jiggling on the door handle. And it's jiggling. And then finally, the door busts in and she stabs. And it was the mechanic guy.
Oh, dude.
And she stabs him right in the chest. And she's like, oh, shit. And he's like, no. And he falls. And then right then the zombie ass reaches through the window and he grabs her head and like she gets away and then she grabs the mechanic and she drags him through the house and she closes the door and Ash is banging on the door trying to get in, right? And then he stops. She goes down and she's like, are you all right? And he's like, pull this damn thing out of me. And then so she drags him to another room and then she grabs the hatchet and she's like, we got to kill him. And then she pulls out the thing from him, right? And he screams, and she's like, shut up, which is crazy because she stabbed him. She stabbed him. Which is crazy to be like, shut up. So she grabs the axe, but right then the cellar, as she's doing all this and she's looking for Ash, the cellar door opens and the mom witch grabs the mechanic and drags him down. Ooh. And she screams and she's trying to pull his legs back. And then you see all this blood just shoot everywhere. Oh. Just blood everywhere. She's like, oh God, no. And she turns and a zombie Ash is there and he grabs her body and he throws it against the wall hard as shit. And she knocks out. Dang. And then he walks up slow to kill her. But on the ground, the zombie sees the necklace that he got his girl in the beginning of the movie. And he grabs it and he's like, and he turns back to regular Ash.
Oh, okay.
Because the power of
humanity,
love.
Yeah.
Yeah, the power of humanity and love. And then right then, the axe comes swinging at him, and he dodges it. And he's like, wait. And it's Annie. And she's like, you monster. And she keeps trying to kill him. And he's like, stop. It's me, all right? And she's like, yeah, but for how long?
That's a good question.
And he grabs her. He's like, calm down. We're going to beat this. We need those pages. So he's like, so let's head into that cellar and carve ourselves up a fucking witch. And they hear the mom, witch laughing downstairs, like, So they go to the work shed outside, and Sam, it's a montage of them building, some contraption. And he puts literally, the camera pans out, and he puts the chainsaw on his missing hand. And he uses the chainsaw to saw off the shotgun with the other hand. And he's like, groovy. And so he has a chainsaw in one hand, shotgun in the other hand.
It's like Planet Terror, when she has the gun
it's exactly
on her
like
leg.
that. I think that's where they got that from.
Yeah, probably.
I think they got it from this, because clearly this is a cult classic. This is a big deal.
Yeah. This is very, cult classic.
So I think that's where the Planet Terror, if I'm guessing, might have got it from here. I mean, look at the Sam Raimi director guy. I mean, he went on to be one of the biggest directors now in the world.
That's true.
So it's like, well, it mattered. He made these. So they use the chainsaw hand, and he carves the floor up. He's like, those pages are down there somewhere. And he heads down, and he sees one page, and he grabs it. He walks a little farther. He sees a couple more. He grabs them. And then he hears something. And he looks at a curtain, and he walks, and he opens it up, and he sees nothing. And then he turns, and a skeleton falls on him, and it's the skeleton from the mechanic guy. And he's like, ah, and he throws it, and then when he throws
skeleton?
Yeah, he's eating all the way, everything.
Oh, God.
And then he looks down under the skeleton after he throws it, and the other pages are there, and he grabs them, and he gets all the pages together, and he gives them to Annie, and then right then the witch grabs his feet, right, and pulls him back down the stairs, and he falls, and she throws him around, and then upstairs our girl, she reads the first passage. She's like, Hanuka, Shakuna, Hana, and then she keeps hearing him get banged around downstairs in the cellar, so she gets nervous, and she looks down the cellar hole, and the mom grabs her, and the mom starts floating her around and spinning her in the air, and then Ash comes up to the cellar, Ash comes back up, and you hear hero music playing, and he whistles at her whoo, whoo, and the mom turns, and he tries to chainsaw her, but she catches it, and she throws him against the wall, and they start punching each other, and then he knocks her down, and then she raises up, and she does like a Hulk Hogan, like, come on, like, right? The witch mom does like that, like, bring it on, you know? And then her neck grows crazy long, like a snake, and then she looks kind of like E.T. or some shit. You know, like that
when he
long,
reaches his head up.
Yeah, like it's like super long like that.
Okay.
And then he fights against that, and then the daughter starts singing that nursery rhyme, like "Hush, little baby, don't say a word," and it stops the mom and gets her attention. And then Ash uses the chainsaw to cut her head off.
Oh.
And the head's like, "I'll swallow your soul," and then he points the shotgun at the head, and he goes, "Swallow this," and he blows it up. So Annie cries because that's her mom.
Yeah.
And Ash walks over slow and he hugs her. And then outside, all the trees get right up on the house. Like, they're not far away now. Now they're all right up on it, and they start beating the house to shit. And Annie and Ash scream, and Annie goes, I only completed the first part of the passage. And he's like, well, complete it. And then the monster comes in, he's trying to fight him off. And she's like, Kanda, Nazi. And then right then the evil hand, she gets stabbed in the back.
Oh.
With that big spear.
Yeah.
And she's like, and then Ash is like, no. And then a tree hand comes in and grabs him, and like the vines are all grabbing him, and this evil monster is about to eat him. And then she's finishing the passage as she's dying. She goes, Amanon, Hakti, Ear Day. And then Ash, as he's about to get eaten by this big tree monster, he takes the chainsaw out and he stabs it in the eye, and the purple blood's all coming on him. And at the
The tree monster has eyes?
Yeah. And at the last second, she's passing out as she's dying. She goes, Asku Ani. And she finishes the passage, and the evil spirits all fly away, right? And the evil tree goes away, and everything's fine. And he comes to her body, and he's like, you did it, kid. You did it. And she's laying there. And then right then the doors fling open, and you see outside there's a vortex sucking everything.
Whoa.
Sucking all the evil, and everything else around it too. The cars, like everything, the house. And he's like, no. And he's grabbing on, holding for dear life. He's like, no, for God's sakes, how do you stop this? And he gets sucked into the vortex.
Whoa.
Ah! And Sam, he's flying through dimensions. He's going through dimensions and dimensions. Stop looking. These dimensions. And him and this car, the car and all this stuff land, right? And he looks around, and he's in medieval times.
Whoa.
There's soldiers and knights surrounding him everywhere, like armies. And they're all like, they look at him, and he's looking around, and they all go, slay that beast. And they all run up with their knives, and they're about to kill him. And then right then, this evil monster comes flying from overhead, like this dragon monster comes flying, and it's like a spirit, though. And he looks up, and he points the shotgun at it, right? And he shoots it in the head. And all the knights are like, and it's quiet. And he looks around, and then all the knights go, hail, he who has come from the sky to deliver us.
Oh, he's the thing they prophesize.
They go, from the tales of the dead, he fulfilled the prophecy. And then Ash looks around, and he goes, wait, no. And they all cheer him on, from the sky. And he's like, no. And the camera pans back, Evil Dead 2.
What? And that's how it ends.
That's how it ends.
No wonder they had to make 3. The story continues.
Sam, was that not kind of awesome?
I need to know what's happening next.
Don't you kind of want to watch Evil Dead 1?
Well, yeah, and Evil Dead 3. Not 1. Is Evil Dead 1 about the father and mother finding the book and it unleashing that, I wonder? That's what I assume. And then 2 is Evil Dead 3 about him.
In medieval times.
And also, is his character's only in the second one?
So this is what I'm assuming. Maybe it's like a Back to the Future situation. You know, in the third one, they go back to Wild Wild.
It's the right era of time, too, for that kind of...
So I'm like medieval times, yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. Well, I guess we have to go watch these movies or wait till someone to do them.
Yeah, we have to, because Cristofor Castro, these are amazing, bro.
Yeah, these are amazing.
That was incredible. Did you have a good time?
Am I allowed to watch the movies or should I wait?
We should watch Evil Dead 2, but hold off on Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 3 because I haven't seen them either. And we'll see if somebody else wants us to do them. But that was fucking incredible.
That was insane.
Who's your favorite character? Was it Ash?
Yeah, I think so.
I liked Annie.
I mean, she went through a lot. Actually, if I'm being honest, the mechanic guy is probably my favorite character.
He went through a lot, dude.
Yeah.
He lost his girl. He got eaten by a witch. I mean.
Yo. That's crazy. Do you think it was... Did you want to write a movie about the evil thing and then create the story around it? Or did you create the story and then make the villain to match the story?
I don't know.
Confusing.
It's very confusing. Oh man, it's good stuff though. I really enjoyed that. Out of all the paid fors that have been asked for me to tell, that is by far one of my favorites. Chris Castro, we love you, buddy. That was
Yeah,
for
I really
you.
like that. That was very fun.
That was fun. That genuinely was fun. It was fun watching and it was fun telling. Sam, I love you.
I love you.
B Mafia, we love you guys more. See you in a couple of days, you sons of bitches. And again, October 8th at the Vulcan Gas Company in Austin, Texas. You can see me and Ehsan headlining Solid Comedy Show. Come out. And October 14th, Fort Worth, Texas. Come on out at Hyenas Comedy Club. I will be there headlining. Ehsan will be featuring. Sam will be hosting.
I'll be there.
Yeah, we got buttons. You want to go show them the buttons, Sam?
Oh, yeah. Here, hold this.
Yeah. Sam's going to show you guys the cool buttons that we got that we're going to sell at Hyenas. And they're just donation based. I'm not charging anything, so you can just grab them. They're free. But if you want to donate something, I'd appreciate it. And yeah, you show them, Sam. Right, yeah. You want to take this? That's not working either. Sam's trying to, if you're listening, Sam's trying to show the button, but that's pretty good. And you get a picture close up of Sam's face. And that'll be, hold on,
It's not coming into focus, but imagine if you could see this better.
Sam's saying, it's not in the focus, but imagine if you could see that better. We love you, B Mafia. We're out, baby.